As I've grown older, I've become increasingly disillusioned with the idea of democracy. I'm not even sure if this is a history question or geopolitics question. Well, history and geopolitics are interconnected, so we can take this. But I genuinely no longer understand what democracy actually is. Is it simply elections, or is it something deeper like civil liberties, rule of law, institutional checks, individual rights? Where exactly is the line beyond which a system stops being a democracy? What is true democracy supposed to be? And even if such a form exists in theory, is it really the best model of governance for a large and complex civilization? Right. Democracy. Well, democracy for the past century or so, most people believe that democracy is all about holding elections. So once in 5 years, or in the case of the US, 4 years, but most of the world it's 5 years. So once in 5 years, there's an election, and that makes your country a democracy. And as part of this process, you have to go and vote. So your job as a citizen is to vote once in 5 years, and then leave the rest to the individuals who are elected. That's how it is. Now, ideally, democracy is not supposed to be like that. Ideally, democracy is supposed to be more participative. For example, let's say you have a football club, and you appoint a manager of the football club. Let's say you have a cricket team. Okay, let's say you have a cricket team, national cricket team, and you have appointed a coach, a manager of the cricket team. Let's say you give him a maybe 3-year contract, hypothetical, completely hypothetical. Now, if he doesn't perform well, and you lose multiple, series very quickly, then you have the right to sack him, to fire him after 3 months, after 6 months, whenever required. You don't have to honor the entire three-year contract, right? So if you are running a football club, a cricket team, you can hire a manager or a coach for a certain amount of time, but you can fire the person if the person doesn't perform, if the performance is not satisfactory, right? If you hire a CEO, if you appoint a CEO of a company, let's say you are on the board of a company, and the board appoints a certain person as a CEO. You give that person, let's say, a 2-year, 3-year tenure initially contract. Okay, but if the quarterly returns aren't good, if the quarterly returns are shocking, you can fire the person after 1 quarter, after 2 quarters, whatever. You don't have to honor the entire contract. But in democracy, once you elect a person for 5 years, you're supposed to shut up and get lost and let the person do whatever for 5 years. There's nothing you can do about it, right? That's one of the big issues with the democracy, right? It should not be like that. It is possible that people may be compromised. People promise one thing and deliver something else, or don't deliver anything at all. That happens. I think it's pretty common in democracy. Another issue with democracy is that democracy can be gamed. The democratic process, the electoral process, can be gamed. It can be hacked. There are multiple ways of doing it. Vote bank politics. Democracy is based on one assumption. The basic central assumption in democracy, in electoral democracy, is that in an election, each individual will vote for a candidate based on what they think is the best candidate. Merit. It is assumed that each voter will vote based on what they think is the merit of the candidates. But in reality, merit often has nothing to do with the way people vote. They vote based on religion. They vote based on, these days, caste in India. They vote based on, maybe they have been given some money. Maybe they've been made some promises that are bad for the country but good for them. There are vote banks that are created by importing illegal infiltrators into a country and settling them in a region, in a ward, municipal ward or whatever. So the local people who are actually citizens, their vote doesn't count anymore, because the people who have been settled in a slum or whatever, they're going to now outvote them, and they will vote for whoever allows them, regularizes their citizenship or whatever. So there are so many ways of gaming and hacking democracy. When it comes to social media, it's so easy for foreign countries to influence elections by gaming social media, because they own the social media platforms. So that's another way of hacking democracy and making democracy completely into a joke, essentially, right? Then there are nations where you, for example, the European Union. Okay, who rules the European Union? It is the individuals who sit in Brussels, the capital of the EU, right? But those people are unelected. So, in a European Union nation, the people will vote for their local representatives in the nation's assembly. They'll vote for their president or prime minister or whatever. But it is the EU government in Brussels that actually rules these countries. They determine the policies that will be applicable on the people who have never voted for them. Economic policies, immigration policies, do's and don'ts and whatnot. So where's the democracy in this? Where's the democracy? There's no democracy. It's a joke. Then you have some nations like Japan, for example. No matter who you vote for, they can't do a thing about the occupation, the military occupation that the country is under. Their constitution is written by foreigners. That can't be changed. So where's the democracy? Just having elections is not democracy. There are so many issues with democracy. The truth is that there is no real true democracy in the world. Ideal democracy, idealized democracy, where you actually vote for representatives based purely on their merit. That doesn't happen anywhere in the world. There are some countries where it's a democracy in name because you only have two political parties. Only two parties. You can vote for either this one or that one. And both political parties have the same economic policies and the same military policy and the same foreign policy. So where's the democracy again? So democracy, unfortunately, is a big sham that has been pulled over the people of the world. And what they do to justify it is that they will teach you in your school education textbooks, etc. Democracy is the best thing. Without if a nation doesn't have democracy, it's evil, right? So, yeah, what exactly is democracy? Is it only elections? It's not elections. Is it about civil liberties? No, not necessarily civil liberties. Rule of law, civil liberties, institutional checks, individual rights, all of these can be available to citizens even in a non-democratic arrangement, right? So democracy is not simply elections. Democracy means you get to decide who represents you at a certain level in the governance system, in the government. So you can vote for your local municipal bodies. Who's gonna be in those municipal bodies? You can vote for your state bodies like the legislative assembly, MLAs. Then you can vote in India for the central government, the MPs, members of parliament. So there are multiple levels of voting and multiple levels of representation. But at the end of the day, what does it give you? Not sure what it gives you. And it's not just India; it's all over the world. There are flaws everywhere. The system can be gamed. Democracy can be hacked. Democracy exists in many places only in name, and that's the problem. So democracy has increasingly become a sham in the world. It is just a means of ruling people. I mean, for example, in New York, in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, there was this gentleman called Robert Moses who ran the city. Okay, and he would be democratically elected, etc. And he said that he never did any political dealings. He built everything in New York, all the construction, all the development activity based on what people needed. But if you look behind the scenes and you go below the surface, he had all the politicians on his side. So there is this sort of corruption everywhere. It's not just in India. I mean, Robert Moses is a great example of someone who appears on the surface to be such a great visionary developer, somebody who transformed the city of New York, who displaced millions of people to create new infrastructure in the city. But what he did ended up being worse for the poorest sections of society. So you have this issue everywhere in the world. So democracy is increasingly a sham now. It doesn't. It gives people the illusion that they have control and they have power over the system. Actually, they have no power whatsoever. So what is the best model of governance? Well, it depends on your history and your culture. And historically, the form of governance that has worked the best is monarchy. Historically, that's the form of governance that has worked the best. Do what with this information whatever you want.